single mother in prostitution with the future goal of a business owner. She was 16 years old when she was picked up and dropped off by a pimp that started her on this destructive path. Hooking and moving was her choice she made to provide for her child a better life.
Actually, I'm going to say I do love what I do because it's my line of work and it's a way of getting money, but this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
What do you want to do?
I do want to have a business and I do want to go back to school. And if I can't conquer a business, I will, of course, not stupid, work this job, do this for the rest of my life. I'm going to go eventually get a job. Or if I can get in school where it can get me further, then that's what I would do. But this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. But this is what provides for my child, and this is what's getting me where I need to be.
1. The delusion. The idea that prostitution is a path to buy out the tough situations have led many young girls and women astray. They think that since it is easy to sell themselves for quick money, that they will come up quicker to be able to provide a stable life for themselves and their children. They hope that within time, they will not have to do it anymore and they will live properly once they get out of the streets. They expect that they too can live a regular life after choosing the worst path possible, that everything will fall in line because of the money they are able to earn. The truth is that they block themselves from a greater path because the money becomes an addiction and they face a rat wheel of running themselves into a downward spiral of the streets.
I don't have the most support from my mom. I don't have the most support from my dad. My mom, she helps me take care of my kid. When I'm working, my mom has my child, and then when I'm not working, I take my baby for at least a month. Probably the longest of the shortest is probably 2 weeks, but I'm not finna have my baby knowing what I do because that's not what I want her to think is okay.
2. The guilt. Many women like this can recognize that their lifestyle is not the right way to raise children, and most don't want the path for their children themselves. Yet they choose to live it while hiding it because of guilt. This is what living for the day is and not preparing for the future. Although it's mentioned that the future is what they're looking towards, their denial of the outcome shows they don't want to admit that there is consequences for these actions. There is always something that is going to go wrong within this lifestyle, and the worst harm to mine may come to effect. The parents who raise women like this fear of losing their child conforms to accepting this behavior than pushing their child away, which ultimately makes daughters like this continue to make bad decisions.
How do you describe your childhood in the foster system?
The foster system, it was some staff that cared and there was some staff who just really didn't give a fuck. They had favoritism. It was just, the system is no place for no kid. And that's what I'm just gonna say, period. System is no place for no kid, and to the parents that do put their kids in the system now, that's no place. They need to take responsibility for their actions. At the end of the day, we reap what we sow. What we do is gonna happen to our kids.
3. The trauma. There are times when parents have failed their children and the children become the state or other people's responsibility. In these times, many would consider that the kids have gone through a very traumatic experience, and those experiences push them into becoming self-destructive. Just like there are some bad caseworkers, there are some good, and some didn't want to listen to the good because they rather deal with the trauma than understanding the corrective advice given. The last statement she said was, at the end of the day, we reap what we sow, and what we do is going to happen to our kids. That is a clear-cut understanding that the actions we have as parents, our kids will have to deal with or even become. But many, like this case here, negate that when they decide to do what they want to do with their lives and do for themselves first before the children due to this trauma. They believe they are saving themselves so they can save their children. And this is where many get it wrong.
I was 16 years old. I AWOL'd from my placement from Laverne, and I made it to Western and 107th to go meet with my friend. And this guy, he hit the corner and he asked me what I was going to go do. And I lied. I told him, I'm finna go get some money. I'm finna figure it out. He said, well, I could help you. And I'm gullible. I'm a child. I'm trying to turn up. I AWOL from placement. So I look inside his car. He got a bottle of Remy Martin. Of course, I'm finna go with him as a child because I want to go turn up. I AWOL from placement. My mindset is on going to have fun. But I looked in his car. I was like, yeah, let's go. He let me have a few shots and he put me down on Figueroa on 65th and Fig. And that's where it started.
4. The decision. Rebelliousness always comes in the late teenage years. Young adults normally disobey or no longer listen to the advice from the parental guidance or mentors. This is the stage they try to want to do for themselves or just enjoy the perks of understanding adult fun in the world. It's way more of a possibility of this happening with broken homes and traumatic foster experiences. It's the you can't tell me anything and I know what I'm talking about phase that sets the young adults up for making mistakes before truly knowing the world. This rebellion can be limited with the patriarchal structure in homes because the fathers bring a healthy fear into children to a point that in those years of rebellion, they would take a second thought about their actions as they are aware of the punishment behind it.
I know that's why I'm not gonna be doing this for the rest of my life. Mark, I'm not this stupid. I'm scared to be in love with a man because I don't know how to love a man because I didn't have my dad there. So I don't know how to love a man, so I refuse. I'd rather just keep it business, cordial. You help me learn and I help you learn. For right now, until I get a little bit older, probably in my 30s, then I'll probably settle down and try to find a man.
5. The mentality. This mindset is very common. The lack of fatherhood necessary for the discipline of the mind and emotion. Fatherless homes often have young boys emasculated and young daughters sexualized to a point of no return. Because of the lack of this role, the women such as this case never experience the father to understand the man. They go out into the world lost on what makes a man capable for intimate interaction and what doesn't. The constant sexual experiences with men without the knowledge of men ruins their mindsets as to what men are really intended for and only expect that men have one idea of what women are for. They lose the respect of men and they think they're all the same. So prejudice forms for the opposite sex due to this lack of understanding and outforms the daddy issue persona. When there is no man to respect in a home, they always lose respect for themselves, which show the lack of control in their behavior that dad at home would have limited.
I did try to get a 9-to-5, and they didn't respond until 6 months later, and I was just like, what? But they were trying to give me a good position. They were trying to give me a manager's position for a solar company. And I get paid $2,600 a month plus commission. I would have got paid $3,500 and better every month. But it took forever for the shelter to get my birth certificate. It took forever for the shelter to get my social. All that took 6 months just to come. I didn't have none of that information. I had my ID, but I didn't have my social and my birth certificate. It took 6 months for me to get my social and my birth certificate. So I just quit. And I was like, you know what? I've been broke for too long. I'm sitting here selling food stamps to the man around the corner somewhere or down the street or wherever he was. I was selling food stamps just to make sure I can eat and have some more, have something, have clothes or whatever, because the shelter only provided so much. After a while, I got tired. I was like, you know what? I can't do this. I know what I'm capable of doing. I know if I go out there and I go with somebody and I keep myself right, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be straight.
6. The excuses. These always come because the need to make sense of it all, to validate why they chose the easy route to money, then trying to live the positive route, which is more work because it's the most disciplined lifestyle. There is much to the delusion that they can outrun father time and become respectable parents to choose this route out of hardships, but this shows that women in general don't really like working hard. They love money but hate if there is a lot of effort for it, if it's not acquired instantly. They don't like the fact that money is the transaction of required time invested into a project given within a company or workplace. The harder you work, the more you earn. But as of sex work, it doesn't require a lot of effort but opening of the legs. Plus it's instant, paid same day, and they never have to clock in or follow SOP. It's easily bought with beauty and youth, and the oldest profession in the game. What they try to forget about is that they are rolling the dice of craps every time they take a John. Every situation they put themselves in. There's a possibility of disease, death, arrest, and drug use every time. There's a higher risk of children not having their mother to raise them. There's a higher risk of children not even having fathers. These thoughts may come to mind but never acted upon because money is all that what drives these types of women, hence the addiction to it. So regular jobs will never stick because this profession is way more reliable to them. they can always go back down this path if nothing works out.
You're doing something that's just so crazy and dangerous?
Oh, every day. Sometimes I even don't want to go outside sometimes, and I cry before I go outside because I get these feelings like somebody gonna take my life. But it does make me feel lonely because I don't want to get into a relationship with a man and he feel like he's more stronger than me, where he can be a narcissist. I done been in some situations where, you know, these Johns feel like they have more control of you in the bed, and they don't. And they have to realize, yeah, you spent your money on me, but you still can't handle me the way you want to, because at the end of the day, you got somebody to go home to, not me. This is the business. We're not in love. We're not a couple.
Number 7, the disdain. Many in this profession grow the hatred towards men. The hatred builds from the sexual experience without meaning. When you have sex without a purpose, it damages the emotional connection of relationships. It gives you the idea that this is what all men want from women, not realizing that this is all men was able to see, because this is what you have chosen to offer them. The fear of a narcissistic man in a relationship has been the most common term used towards men for men being a realist. But the word itself, narcissism, is the one whose personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others by definition. The personality of feeling the need of admiration has mainly been shown through the modern women, and this you can see all over social media. There is also the superiority complex many modern women have that have them believing that men are inferior. There's much empathy lacking towards the hardship of men, but reaping all the benefits of their hard work is the modern day feminism. The independent woman truly think highly of oneself, especially if they are earning more than a man. So the term narcissist is thrown around from the ones who show it most, that mainly women without even knowing in a meeting uses it towards men also. It is the eternalizing of the truth of themselves, projecting it out to those who they disdain.
What's your biggest regret?
Having a baby while doing this and not having myself all the way together. Yeah, I have a stable place to lay my head. I have all that, but at the end of the day, I'm not there every day with my baby to teach her to walk, jump, hop, skip. I taught her how to ride a bike. Her dad taught her how to walk, you know what I'm saying? My mom taught her how to speak. I potty trained her, but I want to be there every step.
Number 8, the regret. When you become a mother, the most valuable time with a child is when they are first born and they need to be taught everything. Their first laugh, first word, first steps, and all those memories that you have of those when raising them is the warmth of motherhood. When mothers put themselves first and not the child, these are the moments that are missed and the moments you definitely can't get back. These are the ultimate regrets to have as a mother. And this is why marriage is the first priority when you have kids. This is why the understanding of the wife role is needed. This is why we have to make best decision of what type of man we want to have children with. When we choose correctly and have understanding of the role as a wife and mother, we better our chances of being a wife home with our children. We drive the husbands to want to provide that. We secure our position, and we can watch our kids grow every step of the way. This is a regret that a mother should never have, and that lost time with the children we have is very hard to bear.
Don't take anything for granted.
Modern women have become accustomed to believing that money is all they need to fix their problems. Their need for men has diminished to easy paydays. This path of sex work blinds them from the reality of the truth. The damage to the emotional and mental is put on the back burner because money will fix all their problems. The delusion, guilt, bad decisions, mentality, and excuses leave many women to their own demise. Many come to regret of being in the world in general or dealing with men on a basis that used up what they believed was all that was needed to offer. The hatred of society and men can consume them to a point that they never come back to reality to fix the issues that they have, and they are continuously in the rat wheel, trying to find a way out, taking the same steps as before. Regret always happens in life. In our days, we all have things we can regret. Choices made that we wish we could take back, and opportunities passed that we didn't give a chance. The purpose in life is to limit the amount of regret you can have into having a life you don't regret. Children suffer with many of our regrets because we didn't put them first. We didn't decide on the proper time to have them or choose accordingly to the type of relationship we needed before them. This particular regret is the common regret of single motherhood. Mothers wishing they didn't have a child around the time they believed life was just about fun. Many thinking that they can do both. Some believing they can raise themselves while raising their children. Now, when the wall greets many that it will hit, the reality of depression and loneliness is what is to embark. The children grow a disdain for their childhood, and a broken culture is created. The cycle repeats. This was a study to open the eyes of many girls that many think one way to life will always have the answers. That sex work is positive work and doesn't come with risks. It does. It risks for future on relationships, bonds, health, and status. Don't forever be known for a mistake you don't want to do for the rest of your life. You start acting now on the goals necessary for the prosperous future you would like to have, and the better the life you can achieve without any remorse. Free yourself from the delusion and guilt. Understand the mentality. Work towards things you don't have to make excuses for, and limit the regrets in your life. And as my final words, I would like to thank you all for tuning in for the first episode of Loah's Case Files. Stay tuned for the next episode by supporting this channel, and I thank you all for watching.